Hello everybody, welcome back to another live stream. I haven't gone live in a while, but been dealing a lot of personal things. I'm gonna try to get back into the weather. Try to get back focused here as we uh head into the spring season. Okay, make sure all that's working. Hello Jessica, how are you doing today? Thank you for joining in the stream. Um, So we're gonna get right ahead and talk about what's happening throughout today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. With uh, today and Wednesday being the most significant days. Sorry, I'm just checking everything behind the scenes. Um, we do have an enhanced risk of severe weather today. It was only a slight risk, but now we have the enhanced risk for Oklahoma City, just northwest of Dallas, Wichita Falls, near McKinney, Texas, as well. So basically, Oklahoma City southward, and anywhere in these northern counties in north central Texas. Um, this enhanced risk is driven based off of two things. We'll look at that in a minute. The hail risk, there is the 15% chance hail risk. And the hail risk goes all the way down here near places. The slight risk, this yellow area, includes places like Oklahoma City, Wichita, Kansas, Abilene, Texas, Norman, Oklahoma, Wichita Falls, Texas, and the brown area is the 5%, which goes up towards Missouri and Nebraska. We also have the wind risk that's also driven. That's also upgraded this to the enhance area, and you can see the red areas where the most prominent risk area is. And again, it's if you anywhere in that enhanced risk zone, so places like Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Norman, Oklahoma, Wichita Falls, Texas, Denton, Texas, and Louisville, Texas are some of the places in this 30% zone for damaging winds. And then, and then the tornado threat as well. Not a hatch risk for strong tornadoes, but still a 10% chance for tornadoes, again in the enhanced risk area for the same areas I just mentioned. You also got the 5% in the brown, the 2% in the green as well. Um, and we'll kind of talk about it day by day, and then we'll go through the HRRR model. Um, so that is for today, and tomorrow we shift our attention to another massive enhanced risk, according to the latest update from the SPC. Zoomed out a little too much. Let me go into here. So you can see that we have a huge enhanced risk area that goes all the way back into Oklahoma, into near the Texarkana region, just south of Little Rock, near Monroe, Shreveport, Alexandria, much of Mississippi, as well as near the Baton Rouge area, just north of New Orleans, goes into Alabama, going towards Mobile, near the Birmingham area, and then as well even getting potentially near Pensacola with the enhanced risk. So we have the hail threat, which is not the main threat for tomorrow, but you do got that 5% from Topeka, Kansas, down to near Pensacola, Florida, and everywhere in between. You also have the wind risk, and of course, you've got the 5% in the brown, the 15% in the yellow, and the 30% in the red. In this black hatched line area, you have a 10% chance of anywhere in this area of those winds to be up to hurricane force. And this includes places like Jackson, Monroe, just to the east of Shreveport, um, extreme southern portions of Arkansas, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Alexandria, Louisiana, extending towards Meridian and a little bit of far western Alabama as well. And then, of course, we also have that tornado threat for tomorrow as well, the 2% in the green, 5% in the brown, 10% in the yellow. And of course, this hatched region is a 10% chance for EF2 plus. So the National Weather Service is expecting a chance for strong tornadoes tomorrow across Dixie Alley. And of course, it's for those same enhanced risk areas. You can see the hatch zone for Monroe, Baton Rouge, Alexandria, Jackson, Macomb, Mobile, near Pensacola. All these places in Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, including Florida as well. Um, and then, of course, for Wednesday, the severe threat doesn't stop there as this moves on through. We have a slight risk from all the way near down here in Georgia, goes all the way up near into Pennsylvania a little bit. And this is mainly going to be driven off of the wind threat, mainly. Is going to be the main threat over here for the East Coast, is going to be the damaging wind threat as the system moves on through. Excuse me. So now that we talked about that, we're going to talk about storm initiation. We're going to talk about what these storms are going to look like in real time. Again, this is just a forecast, so it's not going to be spot on, but it should help a little bit. I'm going to turn off these icons so it's easier for you to see what we're talking about here. So we're going to go to the um, HRRR model. Don't mind the total composite reflectivity. We'll go to the 21Z, should have, no it doesn't. So we're gonna have to go to the 18Z to get the full 48-hour run. Shouldn't take too long here. And there we go, we're already good to go. So you can already see, so this, you can see up here, we're going to start for tonight. You can see up here, this is the date right here. This is today around 2 p.m. So this is far behind. So we'll go to right now about 5. We'll go to 6 p.m. Central Time. Again, this time is in Central. So this is around 6 p.m. Central Time. Not a lot of spotty showers, nothing too severe. Maybe some rumbles of thunder near Dallas and Little Rock, moving in towards Jackson, but nothing severe. But then you can see as we go into 7, 8, we go around 9 o'clock tonight. We have, again, not a lot going on, and you're wondering where is the severe threat gonna be? Why do we have that 10%? And it's because as we get to 10 and 11 p.m., you can see right at 10 p.m., we have this line of storms right here start to flare up, and that's where our tornado potential really starts to rise around 10 p.m. tonight, and then continues at 11, 12, and then you can see down here these supercells that show up down here around midnight, 1 a.m. Those are going to be uh, isolated in nature pretty much because they're not going to be connected to the main line just yet. And so that's going to bring, excuse me, sorry, going to bring that tornado threat as well as you can see around 2 a.m. Around 2 a.m. tomorrow morning, on your Tuesday morning, we have that strong line of storms moving through the Oklahoma City metro, near Norman, Oklahoma. And then, of course, here west of Dallas and Fort Worth, that line's starting to move in. But again, as this line consolidates, the supercell potential is going to die off to the north and then come down here to the southern side of the line. And of course, not only in this line between 11 and 2 a.m., potentially 3 a.m. for Oklahoma City, the main threat is going to be the damaging winds. But you could have embedded cells in that line, which is what we call QLCS tornadoes, um, which is basically supercells embedded in the line of storms that we have to watch out for. So we get to about 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. The line is starting to move out of Oklahoma Metro, starting to move towards Fort Worth and Dallas, and this convection up near Houston, up near Shreveport, that's in front of this line. These are the cells that we have to watch as we progress through the day, as they could be. Excuse me, it's been a long day. Sorry, but these supercells right here we have to watch for down near in between Houston and Shreveport that could try to be discrete supercells in nature as this line continues to push through pretty much all Oklahoma and northern Texas. And then we get to about 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. We have that nasty line of convection that's still moving through. The main lines pretty much move through Tulsa, but Tulsa's getting hammered around 5, 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Um, and then, of course, Dallas, Fort Worth, those areas getting hit hard as well. And again, not a lot of messy convection down here in front of this line, as well as the convection in the line, as well as these cells right here in front of the word Dallas. These cells right here could very well, excuse me, be discrete nature. And then as we get to about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, that's where I think as we're waking up tomorrow morning, that's where our tornado potential is really going to start ramping up because we're going to have a lot of discrete supercells between Houston and Shreveport that are going to be discrete. I mean, there's a ton, look at all these cells down here, very discrete in nature, and that's kind of the worry. Is draw this out for you. So this is at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, and you can see all these cells right here, mainly these ones right here between Houston and Shreveport that are going to bring the most tornado risk um, tomorrow. And then we get to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Um, Again, the line still now push through Oklahoma and Texas by 9, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Now it's moving into Little Rock. But you see how this main line right here, you see how it's kind of straight? And then once you get to Shreveport, instead of going straight, it kind of like cuts back really fast. That means all these cells right here in front of this line have the chance to become tornadic. And that's what we're worried about here. So we get to noontime. So this is 12 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Again, we have messy convection, a lot of damaging winds probably moving through the Memphis area, getting ready in northern Mississippi through Arkansas. And then again in Louisiana, we're going to be dealing with the damaging winds, but also the supercellular tornado risk as well. Then as we get to 2 p.m. tomorrow, you can see again a lot of discrete supercells between Jackson and New Orleans that are really going to pack a punch and really be, uh, you know, discrete in nature here. And this line's really messy, which would usually prevent storm development, but because it's technically, as we get to 2 p.m. tomorrow, you can see how the line kind of falls apart. And so it allows the cells to become more discrete in nature, allows the cells to become more dangerous in nature. And then as we get to 3 p.m. tomorrow, look at these cells down here in southern Mississippi, in northern Louisiana near Baton Rouge, in between Jackson and Baton Rouge. Look at these cells down here. Look at the kidney bean look in these cells. That is a very concerning look when you're looking at future radar. Of course, the main lines move in between Jackson and Memphis. Excuse me, bringing very much damaging winds. And then as we go into 5 p.m. tomorrow, we got some gusty winds, some damaging storms moving through the New Orleans area. Main line, Nashville, Memphis, Jackson, and Nashville, Tennessee are all getting hit with the stormy convection. This line's getting ready to move into places like Starkville and Philadelphia, Mississippi, as well as these supercells down here in between New Orleans and Jackson still, but on the eastern side of New Orleans and Jackson, bringing that supercellular threat as it gets ready to go into places like Mobile, Alabama. And then, of course, as we go through 6 and 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, uh, the tornado threat's really going to start to diminish, and the damaging wind event's going to really start to take over. As you can see, the line starts to try and reconsolidate here between Nashville and New Orleans, really. Um, brings the damaging winds towards Huntsville, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, getting ready to move into Montgomery and Mobile. And then as we're going to bed around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock tomorrow night, this damaging line of storms is going to be moving through places like Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, getting ready to move through Pensacola as well. And then as we go through 10 and 11 p.m. tomorrow, or sorry, 10 and 11 p.m., yes, tomorrow evening, we'll go to Wednesday at midnight. This line's starting to reconsolidate again, bringing those damaging winds from Panama City up past Knoxville all the way up into potentially Ohio, as this is a very broad system. And as we go through, uh, we'll go to 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning. So you're waking up Wednesday morning in Charlotte, North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina, Columbia, and Augusta, South Carolina. You're waking up in between Tallahassee and Jacksonville, Florida, places in southern Georgia, and it's going to be very windy and rainy as we wake up on your Wednesday morning. And as we go throughout the day, Wednesday, we're going to get a line that kind of moves through Florida that's going to bring that damaging wind event as well. And then, of course, the damaging wind going all the way into North Carolina, going to Virginia. And then as we go through about noontime tomorrow, the line's really going to consolidate for places like North Carolina and Virginia. And that's where those damaging winds are really going to take a toll. And then that's as far out as the latest, the 18Z HRRR model goes, which is the latest 48-hour run. But definitely a wild progression um, as we go through the day. So we're going to bring this back to around 10. We're going to bring this back to 8 p.m. tonight. So within the next couple hours or so. And we're going to look at the significant tornado parameter. So this is on a scale of 1 through 10. 1 being the lowest, or technically 0 through 10, but we just say 1 through 10. So 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. The more reds, yellows, and purples and pinks, the higher on the scale. The more greens and grays, the more lower on the scale. So you can see as we get to 8 p.m. tonight, we get some very strong, the significant tornado parameters get really strong to the west of the Oklahoma metro. I gotta let this run load really quickly. And then as that line consolidates as we get to around 9 and 10 p.m., it really likes western and northwestern Oklahoma, just outside the Panhandle there. And then as that kind of threat kind of diminishes, you can see how the southern threat down here, as we get around midnight, really consolidates for Oklahoma City all the way down to places like let's near Abilene, so in between Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and Abilene, Texas, where we could see the highest potential for tornadoes. And then as we go through the overnight hours, the northern side of this is going to start to die down, and then the southern side down here near Keelan and Austin and San Antonio, Texas, that tornado effect really starts to ramp up, especially as we go through 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. The tornado effect really grows for the Dallas Fort Worth area. And then as that continues, as we get that morning convection, as the sun starts to rise and the low level jet really starts to crank up, we get those, discrete supercells that move in between Shreveport and Houston. And then it's going to stay that way all throughout the morning and still stay. And as this continues, the threat for supercells between Shreveport and Monroe start to die down, and it really gets near places like Baton Rouge, Alexandria, Lake Charles, kind of that triangle. You have a triangle between those three locations. That's where, basically a lot of this tornado potential is going to be. And then as we go through the afternoon, it really goes up near places like Natchez, Baton Rouge, moving towards New Orleans, Fayetteville, Mississippi as well. And then as we go to 2 and 3 p.m. tomorrow, it really likes places between if you live in between Jackson and New Orleans, really tomorrow afternoon, early evening, that's where really the tornado perimeters really start to ramp up. For tomorrow afternoon, we go to 4 and 5 p.m. It starts to move off to the east, and again, the more north, excuse me, as the storm system moves to the east, the tornado potential starts to go down as it's losing its favorable environment. And the more northern you are, like Jackson, the less and less likely it's going to continue. But if you're in like Mobile, or Panama City, or um, Pensacola, Destin, or not Destin, sorry, Dolphin, Alabama, the threat's going to continue as we go into the evening hours. Um, and then as we go through the evening hours, it really dies down and consolidates as it finds some more favorable environment just north of, around in between Mobile and Dothan and Montgomery, Alabama. And then as we go through midnight, late tonight, the tornado threat really diminishes. And then as we go throughout the day tomorrow, the tornado threat does ramp up a little bit through tomorrow afternoon as the parameters really like Fayetteville, Jacksonville, Greenville, North Carolina, and potentially going up towards Virginia, and maybe some water spouts out here that could come on land as well as a major threat, as well as the tornado threat potential down here across central Florida for places like Tampa, Orlando, Port St. Lucie, and Cape Coral as we go through tomorrow afternoon and evening. So I'm going to keep the HRR out this far, and we're going to look at the wind gust. I don't think it'll show the total though. Because if I keep it here, I gotta change my thing from 1 second. I don't know why it's not. That's not what I wanted. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, velocity, miles per hour. Um, I don't know why it's not in miles per hour. Okay. Um, I was gonna show you guys the wind speeds, but it's not showing properly for some reason. So we'll look at the most unstable cape. Again, this is the most unstable cape as we go through. We'll go to 10 p.m. tonight, and you can see the cape levels. You can kind of see how big this system is. We're getting cape level all the way into Nebraska from the Gulf of Mexico. Um, so looking at our area, the Cape really develops near Oklahoma City, back into western portions of Texas, and then the Cape in the north starts to die down as the Cape in the south stays strong as we go throughout the whole morning hours tomorrow morning. The Cape really stays strong, more towards the Gulf of Mexico, and then we get a strong bit of Cape. That yellow is very strong cape that starts near Houston and goes across Houston towards Lake Charles, Alexandria, Baton Rouge, Natchez, getting towards Jackson, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans, and then the cape kind of dies down as we go through tomorrow evening. So realistically, the cape levels really spike with really later tonight into the overnight hours, and then as we go through the overnight and early morning hours tomorrow morning, the cape kind of dies down, and then as we go into late morning, early afternoon, the cape levels spike right back up across far southeastern Texas, central southern Louisiana, and central southwestern Mississippi throughout the whole entire day tomorrow. Um, that's all the information I have for you guys. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. If you guys have any questions at all, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them. Um, Looking at dew points just to see, looking at all the what we call thermodynamics, just to give you guys a kind of an image. The lighter and darker green is 50 to 59 degree dew point temperatures. You need around 55, 60 to sustain a thunderstorm. All this lighter blue is going to the low to mid 60s, and the darker blue, gray colors is going from mid to upper 60s, not quite 70, just shy of the 70 marker. So you can see as we go through the night tonight, the dew points really spike for Oklahoma City all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. And then as we go through early tomorrow morning, you can see how much of a difference is just from maybe like a 1 mile difference, if that, from 60, 70 degree dew points to almost barely like 40, barely any you know substantial dew points. But you can see we get very strong dew points all the way up near Tulsa, near the early morning hours, and you start to see this pink come on your screen. That's getting into the really like high 60s to the very low 70s, like 71, 72, and 70, of course. Um, and then as we go through the morning hours tomorrow, the dew points move into towards Houston, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, getting into Mississippi, southern Arkansas, of course, Louisiana. And then as we go through, we look at noontime tomorrow, we get those very strong dew points, realistically from Monroe, Jackson, southward, all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. And as we go through 1, 2, 3 p.m. tomorrow, the strongest dew points do look to stay in Louisiana, but maybe a hint of 70 might come through for central southwestern Mississippi as those dew points continue. Those 70-degree dew points do move through Baton Rouge and New Orleans. And of course, still, you don't need 70-degree dew points to have thunderstorms, like I said. So anywhere in the very dark green to purple, anywhere in between that color range that I said, you know, will be sustainable for severe weather. So as we go through the early morning hours and or late morning hours, early afternoon, you can see the very strong dew points start to move through. And then as we get to tomorrow evening, the dew points continue to move over into Alabama, into Florida. And then the dew points, of course, are always there in Florida. And the dew points from Florida, this low pressure system is so strong that it's going to keep pulling and pulling on moisture. So it pulls up those dew points, and you can kind of see how the dew points from the line and the dew points from the Atlantic kind of converge here into Georgia, into South Carolina as we go through the very very early morning hours on Wednesday. And then as we go through the day on your early Wednesday morning into the afternoon towards the end of the run, you can see the dew points really favor more towards uh, central, south, and North Carolina and eastward as that goes throughout uh, the day on your Wednesday. Um, as far as now, looking at if we go to look at radar right now, we let me go to reflectivity. And let me put on this, sorry. So yeah, but there's no, unless it's gonna load. Let me see. We do have some light stormy weather starting to pop up around the OKC metro, but nothing out of the ordinary just yet, as the storms haven't developed yet. But that's all I got for you guys. Again, I'll run through really quick just the risk days for the next 3 days and go over the towns that need to be worried and the outlook on the side. So, the enhanced risk includes places like Oklahoma City, Norman, Oklahoma, Wichita Falls, Denton, and Louisville, Texas. All these places have a chance for tornadoes, damaging winds, and the hail threat, the greatest risk. Now, for the semi greatest risk, is the slight area, which includes Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Arlington, Texas, Wichita, Kansas. All these places have a smaller chance, but still a medium chance, I would say. And then, of course, the marginal, which is the lowest affected area, um, includes places like Kansas City, Missouri, Omaha, Nebraska, Overland Parks, Kansas, Kansas City, Kansas, and Topeka, Kansas. Again, that doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to let my guard down. The winds are going to be howling with this system and need to be taken care of. For tomorrow, for your Tuesday, if I could get this to come down, can you move over here for me, please? Alright, I'm gonna have to do that's not right. I'm gonna have to close it and reopen it. Um, 1 second so I can reopen this without it trying to act up on me. Okay, so the enhancers for tomorrow includes places like Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, Mobile, Alabama, Jackson, Mississippi, and Tyler, Texas, are just some of the areas named. This is gonna realistically anywhere in between Shreveport, Jackson, Mobile, New Orleans, well, I would say Mobile, Baton Rouge, Alexandria, kind of in that little area. That's where the greatest chance for strong tornadoes and damaging winds up to hurricane force are possible. The slight risk includes places like Dallas, Memphis, Fort Worth, New Orleans, and Tulsa in Texas, Tennessee, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. The slight risk is, a very big slight risk, and so is the enhanced risk as well. The slight risk, again, is a lower probability of tornadoes, but the chance is still there. Same thing for the marginal for Nashville, Kansas City, Atlanta, St. Louis, Knoxville, all those places. You still have the threat for severe weather, and you need to be taking it seriously. The main threat is going to be damaging winds, but we cannot rule out tornadoes, and some of those tornadoes being strong tornadoes. Wednesday, your risk for Wednesday. Again, the slight risk includes places like Baltimore, Maryland, Charlotte, North Carolina, Washington, D.C., Virginia Beach, Virginia, and Raleigh, North Carolina. And the marginal includes places like Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, all the way down towards Tampa, Florida. Huge area of the marginal risk. The main threat with this is going to be damaging winds. There might be a slight tornado risk for Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, maybe Virginia, but I don't see it being a huge tornado risk. The main tornado risk is going to be tonight through, I would say, between in the next 24 hours, between now and this time tomorrow, is going to be probably the greatest risk for tornadoes. Maybe the next 28 hours or so. So that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I will be live streaming tomorrow with storm chasing. I don't know what time. I'll let y'all know. Until then, I'll talk to you later. Peace out.